I swear to whatever higher power is watching this mess that I never thought I'd be in this situation. Sitting in my kitchen at 3 in the damn morning, staring at my husband like he's a cryptid, realizing I've been sleeping next to a man who spends his free time pretending to be a goddamn cat online. My stomach's doing somersaults, but not the cute, giddy kind you get when you're in love. No, this is the kind of stomach drop that happens when your entire worldview shifts so hard and fast that you feel like you might actually be in a fever dream. The only sound in the kitchen is the hum of the fridge and the occasional tapping of my nails against his laptop. I shouldn't have opened it. I know that. But something had been off about him lately. The way he chuckled to himself at his screen. The weirdly smug satisfaction on his face, like he was leading some double life I wasn't supposed to know about. I expected to find something shady, maybe some run-of-the-mill Reddit trolling, or worst-case scenario emotional cheating. But this is a plot twist I wasn't prepared for. My fingers hovered over his trackpad, my brain short-circuiting as I scrolled through post after post. He wasn't just dabbling in some ironic shitposting. No, my husband, a grown-ass man, a homeowner, the guy who files taxes and remembers to get my favorite snacks at the store, was knee-deep in a goddamn cat role-playing community. And not just participating. He was thriving. Mr. Whiskers. That's his name in this cursed second life of his. A sassy British shorthair who narrates his day-to-day adventures like some kind of feline war general. Human forgot to feed me today. Vengeance will be swift. Time to knock glass from high place. Thousands of upvotes. Gold awards. People in the comments responding like they actually believe they're talking to a cat. And the worst part? He has a nemesis. Sir Pounce-a-lot. There are entire goddamn threads dedicated to their beef. Heated arguments about imaginary territorial disputes, in-depth discussions about cat politics, even fanfiction written by other users detailing their rivalry. My husband's been orchestrating some underground feline soap opera, and I'm just now finding out about it. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, trying to process the full weight of this situation. My husband has spent 3 years of his life, 3 whole goddamn years, curating a fake existence as a cat, and I had no idea. How do you even begin to bring this up in conversation? Hey babe, quick question. Why the fuck do you have an ongoing internet feud with another fake cat? I didn't mean to confront him right away. I wanted to sleep on it, let my brain work through the absurdity before deciding if this was divorce-worthy, or just something I had to pretend I never saw. But then I heard him shuffle out of bed, footsteps dragging toward the kitchen, and it was like my mouth started moving before my brain could catch up. Hey Leo, what the fuck is this? He stops dead in his tracks, bleary-eyed and rubbing his face like he's just walked into an ambush. His gaze drops to the laptop, and for a split second I see it, the flicker of realization, the oh shit moment as he clocks exactly what I'm looking at. He exhales slowly, rubs his temples and mutters, "You weren't supposed to find out like this." Like I just walked in on him leading a double life as a spy. Like I caught him burying bodies in the backyard instead of fucking around online as a talking house cat. Oh, I bet I wasn't. I snap, spinning the laptop toward him. 3 years, Leo? 3 fucking years? I've been married to Mr. Whiskers this whole time. He looks genuinely conflicted. Like he wants to defend himself but knows there's no logical way to do it. Finally he sighs, pulls out a chair, and sits across from me like we're about to have some serious marriage counseling session. It's just a hobby, he says, voice calm, measured. It started as a joke, but people liked it, so I kept going. I blink at him. Kept going? Leo, you have fucking lore. You have a dedicated fanbase. People write about you. Theirs. I can barely get the words out without laughing because at some point my brain just short-circuits and decides that none of this is real. There's fanfiction. Of your cat persona. And his nemesis. Sir Pounce-a-lot. He has the audacity to look kind of proud. Yeah, he admits, scratching the back of his neck. It's kind of a big deal in the community. I stare at him, willing myself to wake up from whatever fever dream I'm in. And when exactly were you going to tell me that you're a full-time internet cat, Leo? I mean, ideally? Never. The way he says it so casually makes me want to throw something. My husband's been moonlighting as an online feline overlord. And he thought he could just take this shit to the grave? I shoved the laptop toward him, shaking my head. I don't even know what to say to you right now. I'm going to bed, and when I wake up, I'm really hoping this was all some kind of fucked up dream. He just shrugs because apparently, he's unbothered by the fact that his wife just uncovered his secret life as an internet cat celebrity. Suit yourself. But if you ever want in on the action, I could help you make an account. You'd be a great Maine Coon. I don't dignify that with a response. Instead, I storm off, leaving Mr. fucking Whiskers to his goddamn kingdom. But as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, one thought keeps gnawing at me. What if I did make an account? What if I became his nemesis? The next morning, I wake up with a headache and the sinking realization that I'm still married to a man who roleplays as a cat. There's no undoing this. No fever dream escape. No waking up in an alternate reality where my husband isn't conducting online territorial disputes over virtual windowsills and digital patches of sunlight. I shuffle into the kitchen, still in my sleep shirt, hair a mess, eyes crusted over with the residue of a bad night's sleep. Leo's already there, drinking his coffee like he's just another normal-ass husband, like he didn't just drop a nuclear bomb on our marriage with his secret identity as Mr. fucking Whiskers. He glances up at me, way too calm for my liking. Morning. I stare at him, half expecting him to start meowing or some shit. You've ruined my life. He has the audacity to smirk. Little dramatic, don't you think? I yank open the fridge, mostly to give my hands something to do before I start throwing things. Dramatic? Leo, you've been living a second life as a cat. A cat? Leo. Not even a cool cat. A British shorthair with a superiority complex. Excuse you, Mr. Whiskers is highly respected in the community. I slam the fridge shut and whip around. Oh my bad. Didn't mean to disrespect your legacy. What the hell am I supposed to do with this information, Leo? Just carry on knowing that the man I married spends his free time fake hissing at strangers on the internet. He sips his coffee, annoyingly unbothered. You could join me. I blink. What? You were the one who said you don't know how to move forward. Well, what if you leaned into it instead of fighting it? I mean, you could make an account, get a feel for it, see why it's fun. I'm about to shut him down, but then something flickers in my brain. A bad idea. A terrible, awful, unhinged idea. Because if Leo thinks I'm just going to accept this and let him live his weird little double life without consequences, he's out of his damn mind. I square my shoulders. Fine. He looks surprised. Fine. Yeah. I'll make an account. He narrows his eyes. You're not just saying that to mess with me, right? I shrug, grabbing my phone. Guess you'll find out. And that's how it starts. I don't half-ass it either. If I'm doing this, I'm going all in. I spend the next few hours studying Mr. Whiskers' posts, his mannerisms, the way he interacts with his subjects. Because, yeah, that's what he calls his followers. I read through his history, the legendary beef with Sir Pouncelot, the dramatic monologues about the great vacuum betrayal, and the treachery of the closed door. And I plan. I craft my persona carefully, choosing a name that will strike fear into the whiskered heart of Mr. Whiskers himself. Something grand. Something undeniable. And when the time comes, I introduce myself to the community with a simple post. The time has come. The usurper Mr. Whiskers has ruled unchecked for too long. But the rightful heir has returned. Make way for Lady Claudia. The response is immediate. The community loses their shit. People are freaking out, speculating, debating. Some are laughing. Some are legit panicking like they just witnessed the return of a long-lost monarch. Leo is sitting across from me when he sees it, and I watch the blood drain from his face. You wouldn't. I smile, slow and satisfied. Oh, I would. And that's how the war begins. Over the next few weeks, I build my empire. I post frequently, establishing my own lore, my own alliances. I craft tales of Lady Claudia's return, her struggles, her determination to reclaim the throne from the so-called imposter king. People eat it up. The comment sections are flooded with theories, alliances are drawn, and soon battle lines are clear. You're either Team Whiskers or Team Claudia. Leo watches all of this unfold in real time, a mixture of horror and grudging respect on his face. He tries to fight back, throwing shade in his posts, challenging my rule. But he's rattled. His kingdom is under attack. And I am relentless. One night, as we're brushing our teeth, he spits out his toothpaste and glares at me in the mirror. I can't believe you're actually good at this. I smirk, wiping my mouth. I'm better than you. He scoffs. Debatable. Leo, be honest with yourself. I'm winning. He turns to face me fully, arms crossed. You think this is a game? I think this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And honestly, it kind of is. I don't know what it says about me or our marriage or the state of my mental health, but I'm having the time of my life. I live for the chaos, for the rivalry, for the look on Leo's face every time I drop a post that shakes the foundation of his precious Whiskers empire. But I also start to notice something else. Something deeper. For all his irritation, Leo seems happy. Like genuinely, unshakably happy. And I start to realize, this isn't just a joke to him. It never was. This is his escape, his way of finding joy in a world that is often mundane and disappointing. It's his art, his storytelling, his weird-ass way of connecting with people. And for the first time since discovering all of this, I stop seeing it as something ridiculous. I start seeing it as something real. Which is maybe why one night, instead of posting another attack, I do something unexpected. I extend a truce. The war has raged long enough. Perhaps, dear Whiskers, it is time for peace talks. Meet me at the Great Water Bowl at dawn. Leo reads it and turns to me, one brow raised. What's your angle? I shrug. Guess you'll find out. And just like that, the game changes. The story takes a turn. And for the first time in weeks, it isn't about winning. It's about something else entirely. I didn't think it would escalate this far. When I hit post on the truce proposal, I figured Leo would take the bait. We'd throw some banter back and forth, and the whole thing would fizzle out. I was wrong. I underestimated the absolute insanity of this community. The war had been raging so fiercely that my proposal of peace hit like a goddamn meteor. People were losing their minds, posting conspiracy theories, making propaganda-style artwork of Mr. Whiskers and Lady Claudia shaking paws under a blood-red sunset. And Leo, he was fucking thriving. I found him on his phone later that night, barely holding back laughter. Babe, look at this shit. Someone made a full-blown animatic of our rivalry. There's dramatic music in everything. I leaned over and sure enough, some lunatic had spent what had to be hours animating the great feud of the feline dynasty. It had voiceovers. It had slow-motion battle sequences. At one point, Mr. Whiskers stood on a rooftop, staring down at a burning city, like he was a tragic antihero in a noir film. Jesus Christ, I muttered. What have we done? Leo nudged me with his shoulder, grinning like a maniac. We made history, babe. I had to admit, there was something intoxicating about it. The sheer chaos of it all. The ridiculousness. The fact that somehow, through this bizarre, unhinged social experiment, we had created something bigger than ourselves. It was stupid. It was absurd. And I couldn't stop. The Peace Summit was scheduled for Friday night. The community was losing their collective shit, hyping it up like it was the goddamn season finale of a hit TV show. People were taking bets. Polls were being posted. There were fan predictions. Some suggesting we'd finally join forces. Others theorizing one of us would betray the other in a dramatic final act. I made a cup of tea and sat down at my laptop, staring at the screen. How the hell do we do this? Leo rubbed his chin deep in thought. It has to be big. Something that shakes things up. Maybe a shocking twist. Like what? He smirked. Maybe a secret third faction? I stared at him. Leo, are you suggesting we introduce a fucking rebellion? I'm saying we need to keep people on their toes. He leaned in, eyes gleaming with mischief. What if Sir Pouncelot wasn't just my rival? What if he had been planning to overthrow us both? I gasped, clutching my chest in mock horror. You devious bastard. Leo grinned. Come on. Imagine it. We arrive at the water bowl, expecting a peaceful negotiation. The air is tense. Claudia and Whiskers sit across from each other, Whiskers twitching, tails flicking. But just as we're about to seal the truce, boom. Sir Pouncelot launches an ambush. I sat back, letting the idea sink in. That's so stupid. I know. I love it. And just like that, the game changed again. The moment the post went live, chaos erupted. The comments section exploded. Betrayal arc? Sir Pounce playing 4D chess. Holy shit, I didn't see this coming. People were already scrambling to pick sides, trying to predict what would happen next. Leo and I sat back and watched the world burn. The night of the summit, we ordered takeout, dimmed the lights, and sat side by side, typing like maniacs. The post went up at exactly 8 p.m. The water bowl glistened under the moonlight, its sacred waters untouched by the feuding titans who stood at its edge. Lady Claudia's fur bristled, her golden eyes narrowing at the king who had wronged her. Mr. Whiskers, regal yet weary, lifted his paw in solemn offering. But peace was never an option. A shadow moved, a rustling in the darkness, and then a war cry. Sir Pouncelot, long thought to be a mere pawn in this great game, stepped forward with an army at his back. "You fools," he hissed. "While you quarreled over your petty squabbles, I have been gathering my forces. The age of Pounce begins now." I barely hit submit before our notifications started exploding. What the fuck? Sir Pounce was the final boss all along? Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I turned to Leo wide-eyed. "We've created a monster." He was grinning so hard it looked like his face might split. "We're gods now." For the next 2 hours we sat there responding to comments fueling the fire. The betrayal arc was in full swing, and the community was eating it up. Fan theories were flying. Someone made a goddamn war map. Another person started drafting alliances. And in the midst of it all, Leo reached over, took my hand and squeezed it. I glanced at him, eyebrows raised. "What's that for?" He shrugged, still smiling. "This is the most fun we've ever had." I wanted to argue, to say something sarcastic, but the truth was, he was right. Somehow, through all this ridiculous chaos, we had found something. A shared insanity. A new kind of connection. And as I looked at him, this absolute idiot of a man who I loved more than life itself, I realized something else. I wouldn't change a goddamn thing. I should have known it wouldn't end clean. Nothing this unhinged ever does. The betrayal arc had detonated like a bomb, and the fallout was nuclear. Every goddamn hour, the comments section churned out new alliances, new betrayals, new goddamn power struggles, like we'd started a war we couldn't control. And honestly, we couldn't. I wasn't even at my laptop when I found out how bad it had gotten. I was sitting on the couch minding my own business, halfway through a bowl of cereal, when Leo groaned from across the room. Not the normal kind of groan either. This was the deep, guttural sound of a man staring into the abyss and realizing the abyss was staring back. I turned my head slowly. "What?" Leo didn't look at me. He just dragged a hand down his face and turned the screen toward me like he was showing me a crime scene. "They made a wiki." I damn near choked on my cereal. "A what?" "A full-ass wiki, babe. There's goddamn lore sections. Faction breakdowns. Somebody made a timeline of every major event in the war." His voice was shaking. We lost control. I scrambled off the couch, cereal abandoned, and rushed to look. And holy shit, he wasn't lying. It was all there. A full breakdown of Mr. Whisker's rise to power, Lady Claudia's rebellion, Sir Pouncelot's betrayal. There were user-generated art pieces, theory threads, and Jesus Christ, an in-depth analysis of the psychological warfare tactics used in the Great Water Bowl standoff. I covered my mouth, trying to process the sheer scale of what we had done. "This is..." I trailed off, shaking my head. "Leo, this is fucking insanity." He nodded solemnly. "They're out of control. We're out of control." That's when we saw it. The part that made my stomach drop. At the bottom of the page, in bold letters, was a scheduled event. The final battle. This Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there. I let out a slow breath. They scheduled a goddamn war. Leo exhaled through his nose. "Guess we better show up." The entire day leading up to it, I could feel it buzzing in the air. People were foaming at the mouth, desperate to see how it would all end. Fan art was at an all-time high. Some people were dead serious, crafting war speeches in the comments. Others were leaning into the comedy, photoshopping Mr. Whiskers and Lady Claudia onto historical battlefields. I paced the living room, cracking my knuckles. How do we even end this? Leo was hunched over his laptop, eyes narrowed. It has to be big. Satisfying. No easy resolutions. I frowned. So what? A bloodbath? We can't just kill off the characters.
No, Leo Mater.
Bigger. I stopped pacing. What's bigger than war? Leo looked up, eyes gleaming. A reckoning. The way he said it sent a shiver down my spine. 8 p.m. hit like a goddamn freight train. The second the post went up, the comment section exploded. It was go time. I took a deep breath and started typing. The battlefield was silent. Too silent. The air was thick with tension, every tail flick, every twitch of a whisker charged with unspoken words. Mr. Whiskers stood atop the ruined cat tower, his once pristine fur ruffled, his golden eyes locked onto Lady Claudia. Below, Sir Pouncelot's forces swarmed, their yowls piercing the night. Claudia took a breath. This has to end. Whiskers didn't blink. Then end it. Leo's fingers flew across the keys, adding his part. Pouncelot stepped forward, the moonlight glinting off his sharpened claws. You fools. You thought this was about power? About territory? This was never about the land we stand on. This was about the ones who watch us. The ones who have been pulling the strings all along. Silence fell. A ripple of unease passed through the ranks. And then in the distance, a sound none had heard before. A click. A whir. The quiet hum of something beyond comprehension. The humans were coming. I sat back, heart pounding. Leo met my gaze, breathless. That's it. That's the ending. A second later, the comments went ballistic. What the fuck does that mean? The humans were watching? They were controlled this whole time? I can't breathe, holy shit. It was beautiful. Chaotic. Perfect. Leo and I sat there, basking in the digital mayhem we had created. There was no resolution. No clear winner. Just the horrifying implication that everything they had fought for had been meaningless. People were screaming in the comments, demanding answers, begging for closure. But there would be none. The war was over, not with a bang, but with a question that would haunt them forever. I turned to Leo, exhaling slowly. We did it. He grinned, reaching over to squeeze my hand. We did. And in that moment, sitting there in the glow of our laptop screens, I realized something. Maybe my husband was insane. Maybe I was too. But goddamn, we were good at it.